You know how every wedding has that moment, the one that ends up on TikTok or in a cautionary BuzzFeed article. Yeah, that was my sister's wedding. And I'm the one who filmed it. It started out like something out of a Pinterest board. White roses, string lights, a violinist playing Taylor Swift instrumentals. My sister Lily looked like she had stepped out of a bridal magazine, elegant, radiant, completely unaware that her life was about to be shredded like a confetti cannon filled with betrayal. The groom, Michael, had the smile of someone who always wins. He was the kind of guy you want to punch and date at the same time. He used to wink at me when no one was looking, and I used to think it was just his way of being flirty in a brother-in-law kind of way. Spoiler, it wasn't. The ceremony went off without a hitch. Tears were shed, vows exchanged, the kiss was met with raucous applause. And then came the reception. The alcohol flowed like forgiveness at a family reunion. Everyone danced, laughed, and basked in the illusion of happily ever after. And then Kendra, the maid of honor, me sister's best friend since kindergarten, stood up to give her speech. Kendra looked breathtaking. A crimson satin dress, dark curls pinned up with baby's breath. Her smile trembled a little when she took the mic, but everyone thought it was just emotion. She started sweet. Lily has always been the loyal one. When we were 12, I broke her mom's vase and she took the fall. She's the kind of woman who believes in people, even when they don't deserve it. Everyone laughed. Some teared up. She believes in loyalty so deeply that she inspired it in all of us. Especially me. Cue the collective ah. And then God, I can't believe she actually said it. She taught me to be honest too. So in the spirit of that honesty, I need to say something. I slept with Michael. The room didn't gasp. It exhaled. Like it had been holding its breath for the last 10 minutes. Lily froze. Michael's face went slack, like someone had just unplugged his soul. Kendra? She kept going. Like a drunk driver who just blew through a stop sign and thinks momentum will save her. I didn't mean for it to happen. But it did. More than once. And I'm pregnant. The silence was so loud it hurt. I could hear my own blood rushing through my ears. My mom dropped her wine glass. My dad started to rise from his seat, but sat back down like gravity had changed its rules. Lily just stared. Not at Michael. Not at Kendra. At me. I think she knew. Somehow in that moment she knew I'd known something was off. And I had. Flashback to 3 months before the wedding. I had walked in on Michael and Kendra outside the rehearsal dinner. Not kissing. But close. Too close. He was tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. She laughed and touched his chest. The kind of laugh women only give to men they want to rip the clothes off of. When I confronted Michael about it later that night, he said, "She's just nervous about the speech." I was calming her down. I didn't tell Lily. I convinced myself it wasn't worth it. That it would blow over. That maybe I wanted to watch her perfect fairy tale crack a little, because her life had always been shinier than mine. That's the part that haunts me the most. Back to the reception. Michael tried to say something, but the DJ beat him to it and cut the mic. Kendra was ushered off the stage by her own mother. Lily? She stood up, walked down the aisle she had just walked up as a bride, and didn't say a word. I followed her to the bridal suite. She was standing in front of the mirror, veil off, mascara bleeding. "I'm so sorry," I said. "For what?" she asked without turning. I told her everything. About what I saw. About what I didn't say. She didn't yell. She didn't cry harder. She just said, "Thank you for telling me now. At least I know who I'm walking away from." And she did. She walked away from Michael. From Kendra. From the fairy tale. The twist came 2 weeks later, when Kendra tried to move in with Michael. He ghosted her. Turns out he had a third woman. A waitress from a bar downtown who just found out she was pregnant too. So here we are. 3 broken hearts, 2 unborn babies, and 1 wedding that became a viral Reddit post. Do I think I was the asshole for not telling my sister sooner? Yeah, a little. But maybe the real villain wasn't silence. Maybe it was all of us pretending love means loyalty when it should mean truth. Lily didn't come back to our parents' house that night. She booked a hotel room downtown and sent one single text. "I need space. Please don't try to fix this." That was how I knew it wasn't just her heart that was broken, it was her trust in everyone around her. I didn't sleep. Neither did Mom. She sat at the kitchen counter barefoot, clutching the bottle of Pinot Grigio she had saved for a toast after the cake. It was unopened. "I never liked that girl," she muttered at 3 a.m. "Kendra?" I asked, though I already knew. She always seemed too needy. The kind of girl who mistakes attention for love. I wanted to argue, but I remembered Kendra's 16th birthday, when Lily had thrown her a surprise party because Kendra's mom forgot. I remembered the way Kendra clung to Lily like a lifeboat. It had never been a friendship of equals. Lily gave and Kendra took, until there was nothing left to take. The next morning, everything exploded online. Some genius cousin had recorded the whole speech. It hit Reddit first, then TikTok, then TMZ. The headline was brutal. Maid of honor speech turns into live cheating confession, pregnant with groom's baby. The clip was 38 seconds long. 38 seconds to destroy a woman's life and turn her wedding into a meme. By noon, Kendra had deleted all her social media. Michael's Instagram comments were flooded with skull emojis, vomit gifs, and the occasional congrats on the twins. The internet can be cruel, but in this case it felt like karma outsourced its job. What hurt more was the silence from Lily. She didn't block us, didn't post a dramatic message, didn't even go online to defend herself. She just disappeared. I sent her a text every day for a week. Day 2. "Please come home. We're worried about you." Day 4. "Michael's been calling. He says he wants to explain." I told him to go to hell. Day 6. "I saw your wedding dress still hanging in the closet. I wanted to burn it for you, but I figured that's your call." Day 7. "Please let me fix this. Or at least try." Finally, on day 8, she texted back. "Meet me at the lake. Just you." The lake was an hour away. We used to go there when we were kids, take peanut butter sandwiches and skip rocks until sunset. I found her sitting on the dock in an oversized hoodie, legs dangling over the edge like we were 12 again. "I'm not mad at you," she said without looking at me. "You should be." "I was," she admitted. "Then I realized you weren't the one who lied to my face for over a year." I sat beside her, unsure of whether to speak. The silence stretched, but it wasn't tense. It was healing. "He proposed to me with that ring in his pocket," she said quietly. I asked Kendra to record it. She was literally standing there while he asked me to marry him, knowing she just slept with him 2 nights earlier. She pulled out her phone and showed me a still from the proposal video. Kendra in the background, smiling with tears in her eyes. I stared at that photo longer than I should have. How did she smile like that? I asked. She wasn't smiling for me. She was smiling for the fact that she had him, and I didn't even know it. It hit me then, this wasn't just betrayal. It was competition. Kendra had always envied Lily. Her looks, her grades, her effortless charm. Sleeping with Michael wasn't just a mistake. It was a twisted way of winning. She didn't just sleep with him, Lily said. She needed me to see it, to feel it. That's why she confessed. That was her grand finale. I was quiet, because she was right. She's not pregnant, I said suddenly. Lily's head snapped toward me. What? I hadn't told anyone. But on day 5, I'd gone to Kendra's apartment. I told her she owed my sister more than a viral scandal and a mic drop moment. She looked wrecked, puffy eyes, pale skin, mascara stains on her pillow. But she wasn't apologetic. She'll survive, she had said. She was supposed to be your maid of honor. And I honored her, Kendra had replied, voice shaking, by not letting her marry him. You humiliated her. She needed to know the truth. No, I snapped. You needed the attention. Then I said it. I called the clinic. You're not pregnant. Kendra froze. What? You said you went to Westside Women's last Tuesday. I volunteer there. They didn't have you on their schedule. Not that day. Not any day. I asked. She had gone completely still. Then she stood and walked to the door. You need to leave, she said quietly. Back on the dock, I watched Lily's eyes widen. She lied about the baby? I nodded. I think she panicked. I think she realized the speech wasn't going to shock enough, so she added the pregnancy to make herself the victim. Lily gave a dry, bitter laugh. Of course she did. She wiped her eyes with the sleeve of her hoodie. You know what hurts the most? What? I still loved him. Even after the speech. Some tiny shameful part of me wanted him to chase after me and say it was all a lie. I didn't say anything. Some truths don't need responses. Then came the second twist. A week later, I got a message from a woman named Rachel. She DM'd me on Instagram with the subject line, "You don't know me, but I know Michael." I almost didn't open it, but I did. Turns out Rachel wasn't the waitress. She was the fiancée before Lily. Michael had proposed to her 2 years before Lily. Same ring. Same beach setup. Same speech. Only difference. Rachel caught him cheating with Kendra. They'd been together for 5 years. Broke up after Rachel found messages on his phone. The messages were from Kay. Rachel assumed it was a coworker, until she reverse searched the number and found it was Kendra. She confronted him. He gaslit her. Said Kendra was just a friend who misunderstood things. Then he ghosted her and moved across the state. To our city. To Lily. To start all over again. I met Rachel for coffee. She brought a folder, yes, an actual folder full of receipts. Screenshots. Photos. Bank statements. It was like something out of a Netflix docuseries. When I showed it all to Lily, she didn't cry. She just said, "So this is his pattern." That's when she did something I'll never forget. She printed every single receipt and mailed it to Kendra. In an envelope with no note. Just the evidence. Kendra never responded. As for Michael, he was fired from his job. Rachel emailed his HR with proof of his workplace affair. He'd been sleeping with an intern too. Last I heard, he moved back in with his mom and started a podcast about navigating modern relationships. You can't make this stuff up. Lily eventually came back home. She started therapy, adopted a cat, donated her wedding dress to a nonprofit that helps women escaping domestic violence. And one night over takeout she said to me, "You know what the worst part of all this was?" I shook my head. I thought I wasn't enough. That's what they made me feel like. If I'd been prettier, sexier, less trusting, maybe none of it would have happened. I reached for her hand. "And now?" I asked. She smiled. Not a full one. Just a tired, healing curl of the lips. Now I realize I was too much for them. Too kind. Too forgiving. Too human. And for the first time since the wedding, she looked like Lily again. Lily started running every morning. Not just for fitness, but for something to chase that didn't lie, cheat, or collapse under pressure. She said it felt like reclaiming her legs. Like for the first time in years, they were moving because she wanted them to, not because she was chasing someone else's dream. She also started a blog. Unwed, Unbroken. First it was anonymous. She wrote about the wedding, the betrayal, the grief that came in waves, not thunder. Her first post went viral in 3 days. Thousands of women left comments. Some had been left at the altar. Some had discovered affairs after years of marriage. Some simply thanked her for making loneliness feel a little less silent. By month 2, she was doing interviews, morning shows, podcasts, even a TEDx talk called "The Day I Married Myself." And then, something unexpected happened. Rachel, the ex-fiancée, reached out again. But not to me. To Lily. She invited Lily to speak at a private support group she ran. It was small. 5 or 6 women. All of them had left relationships with narcissists. All of them had been manipulated, gaslit, lied to. Lily was hesitant. But she went. When she came home that night, she looked shaken. Quiet. Her eyes were red but not swollen. I asked her how it went. She said, "There was one girl there. Barely 20. She couldn't even say his name out loud. Just him." Said he started controlling her clothes, her schedule, then her mind. Guess what his name was? I didn't answer. Michael. She paused. But not our Michael. Another one. It just made me wonder how many men like that are out there, walking around like they're charming, when they're really just practiced. That night, Lily wrote a new post. The most dangerous men are the ones who make you feel crazy for loving them. It got picked up by the New York Times. Meanwhile, Kendra resurfaced. Not physically. Online. She posted a long, dramatic reel on Instagram titled, "My Truth." In it, she cried with suspiciously perfect mascara, said she'd been used, and claimed the wedding confession was her way of freeing Lily from a toxic marriage. The comments were split. Half were die-hard supporters. Queen energy. Telling the truth even when it hurts, ma'am. The other half. Brutal. You slept with your best friend's fiancé. That's not courage. That's cowardice wrapped in confetti. Someone found footage of her and Michael together from earlier that year, him slapping her but at a party, her giggling like a teen with a crush. The narrative collapsed. She went private again in a week. But then came the biggest twist yet. I got a message from someone named Theo. First I thought it was spam. The username was something generic at TruthHurts892. The message said, "Hey, you don't know me, but I dated Kendra last year. And I think you should know she did the same thing to me." I was floored. We agreed to meet at a quiet diner. I wasn't sure what I expected, but when Theo walked in I nearly laughed from the shock. He was gorgeous. Not in the slick suit-wearing smug way Michael was, but in that sincere, golden retriever smile kind of way. Soft brown eyes, faint freckles, calloused hands. He looked like someone who built furniture in his spare time and actually read the books on his shelves. "I dated Kendra for 6 months," he said over coffee. "She was funny, charming, intense, but also calculating. I didn't see it until it was too late." "What happened?" I asked. "She told me she was pregnant." My stomach dropped. She said she was scared, that she needed support. I offered it, moved her into my apartment, took time off work. Then one day, I came home early and found her crying in the bathroom. "She miscarried?" I guessed. He shook his head. "She wasn't crying. She was laughing. On the phone with a friend, telling her how easy it was to get me to commit." I said nothing. The words caught in my throat. She said I was boring and safe, and that she needed a real man. 2 days later she ghosted me. Took half my stuff with her. He paused, then looked up at me. "I thought I was crazy. Until I saw your sister's story." "Why are you telling me this?" I finally asked. "Because she keeps doing it. And someone needs to tell the truth." Without a mic in their hand. He handed me an envelope. Not full of screenshots. Not evidence. Just a photo. Kendra and Michael. Together. At a hotel. Dated 3 months before the proposal. It was time-stamped. Undeniable. Lily looked at the photo for 5 whole minutes. Then she did something I didn't expect. She laughed. Not the bitter, ironic laugh she'd been perfecting. A real one. A sharp, clean belly laugh that made her eyes crinkle. "They deserve each other," she said finally. "And I deserve better." The next day she posted the photo not to shame, not to get revenge. She posted it with a caption that read, "Healing doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It means telling the truth out loud and choosing yourself anyway." The post exploded. But more than that, it freed her. And here's where everything shifted. At one of her speaking events, a woman approached her after the Q&A, tall, poised, late 40s with silver-streaked hair and kind eyes. "You don't know me," she said. "But I'm Michael's aunt." Lily stiffened. "So did I." "He's been this way since he was a teenager," the woman said. "I tried to warn his parents. They said I was jealous of how charming he was." She took Lily's hand. "I'm sorry no one warned you. But I want you to know. It wasn't your fault. None of it was." That night Lily cried for hours. Not because she was sad, but because someone finally said what she had needed to hear all along. "You didn't deserve it. You weren't to blame." And then she began to move on. Not in the new boyfriend kind of way, but in the real way. She started dancing again. She forgave herself for not seeing the signs. She started a nonprofit to help other women escape emotional abuse before it became physical. And slowly, quietly, she became someone even more powerful than she had been before. Not a bride. Not a victim. A survivor. A storyteller. A mirror for others. As for Michael, his podcast flopped. The internet had already moved on. Fame built on failure doesn't last. Last we heard, he filed for bankruptcy and tried to sell his story to a tabloid. They declined. And Kendra? She moved to a different city, changed her name online, tried to start over. But reputation follows you, especially when it's not built on truth. Sometimes people ask me if I regret filming that speech. And I do. But not because of what it exposed. because I wish my sister had never had to hear it in the first place. Still, she says that speech was the worst thing that ever happened to her. Because it burned the lie down and gave her the ashes to build something real. It was 1 year later, almost to the day, when Lily got the invitation. A thick cream-colored envelope, gold foil etching, embossed lettering. She opened it slowly, cautiously, like it might bite. You are cordially invited to the wedding of Kendra James and Michael Harrison. I stared at it with my mouth open. You've got to be kidding me. Lily blinked once, twice. Then she burst out laughing. Not sad laughter, not stunned laughter, but genuine. These two idiots deserve each other laughter. She passed me the invitation and said, I'm not going. Obviously. But I'll send a gift. I raised an eyebrow. She grinned. A signed copy of my book. As Yesby then she'd written one. Unwed, Unbroken. Rebuilding a Life After Public Betrayal. It hit the bestseller list in its second week. Oprah called it quietly devastating and brilliantly empowering. I watched her write the note on the front page. To Kendra and Michael, thank you for making me the woman I am today. I hope your vows last longer than your lies. It was brutal, honest, and somehow graceful. She wrapped it in silver paper. No glitter. No drama. Just truth. We dropped it off at the post office the next day. And that was it. She was done. No more haunting their profiles. No more waiting for apologies that would never come. No more rage, no more revenge. Just release. I think that's when I knew she'd really healed. That summer she bought herself a ring. Not a diamond. A small band of aquamarine. Her birthstone. She wore it on her middle finger and called it her promise ring to herself. I used to wait for someone to pick me, she said. Now I pick me. First, always and only. She even held a small party. Just 10 of us. No flowers, no aisle, no white dress. But there were vows. She stood barefoot in our backyard and said, I promise to protect myself like I protected everyone else. I promise to listen to the red flags, not romanticize them. I promise to never again dim myself just to be loved. And then she danced with all of us one by one. Slow, joyful, fearless. She never looked more radiant. 6 months after that, she met someone new. No, this isn't a love story about him. That's not the point. But I'll tell you this, he was kind. He listened. He asked questions and remembered the answers. He didn't try to compete with her spotlight, held it steady while she stood in it. She didn't fall for him immediately. She waited. Watched. Let trust build like a brick wall, not a paper house. He never once asked her to forget what happened. Just promise not to repeat it. That was enough. They moved in together after a year. No ring. No ceremony. Just a home built on honesty and shared groceries. As for Michael and Kendra, their wedding happened. I saw a few pictures online. Fewer guests than ours. No dancing. Just two people who looked more like actors than lovers. A friend of a friend who went said the vows felt forced. Performative. 2 months later, someone leaked a story on Reddit that Kendra had filed for an annulment. No one knows the full truth, but rumor had it Michael had been DMing someone new before their honeymoon ended. Some patterns never change. But this story isn't about them anymore. It's about Lily. And what happens when a woman gets broken in front of the world and stands back up stronger than ever. People still email her every week. Some write long letters. Some just send one sentence. Thank you. You saved me. And maybe that's the point. She didn't need to be a bride to become whole. She didn't need closure to find peace. She didn't need revenge to move on. She just needed herself. The real Lily. Not the perfect sister. Not the beautiful fiancée. Not the social media darling. Just her. The one who ran in the mornings. Who forgave even when she didn't get an apology. Who built a life not in spite of the ruins but because of them. And me? I still think about that speech sometimes. About how 38 seconds of chaos changed everything. But when I ask Lily now if she'd erase it if she could, she says, no. Because that wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning. So no, she never got her wedding. But she got something better. Freedom. And in the end, maybe that's the truest vow of all.